Hey guys, so today we're going to be testing out a bunch of new makeup. I hope you guys enjoy the look and let's jump right into it. So starting off with a face full of new makeup, I'm going to put my hair back. First thing that I'm kind of excited to try is by Morphe Beauty, and it's an electric rotating makeup brush. I rarely even use brushes for foundation. I typically just use a sponge. It's just my favorite way. It always gives me the most flawless application, but I'm always down to try new things. So this says it includes a luxurious multi-purpose brush head, and it comes with 2 brush heads actually. It says it's got 2 speeds for customized application, sheer to full coverage, and it even claims you can use this brush with powders, not just foundation like liquids. But I'm gonna stick to liquids. I feel like a rotating brush with powders would move around your foundation, and I'm just not here for it. So this is what the inside looks like. You have an extra brush head. It's rechargeable. I wonder if this thing is even charged. We shall find out, huh? Nothing screams newbie more than not realizing that you're gonna need to charge your new technology. I normally do eyes first anyways, so I'm just gonna skip to eyes while this charges. This is not exactly a first impression. I have used this a few times, but I haven't formed a full opinion on it. This is the Kylie. It's just her concealer, and the shade is Gypsum. I'm gonna use this to prime my eyes. Always my first step in my routine. I'm not a fan of doing foundation first because I feel like any fallout is just gonna ruin your entire face of makeup. So I'm just gonna apply this to the lid only. This doesn't really have any scent. I do find that it covers pretty well. With my damp beauty blender, I'm gonna blend this in. Let's set this really quickly. I'm gonna use my favorite Perfect Setting Powder by Cover FX. Then I'm gonna take this Real Techniques fluffy brush and just dust that over the lid before it creases. I'm gonna curl my lashes. This is a Japanese lash curler that I really like. Such a difference. Like, holy crap. So I have these 2 new Huda Beauty Obsessions palettes, and I don't know which one I really want to use. This is the Warm Brown Obsessions. I don't know if I'm going for a warm look or not. I kind of wanted to do something Valentine's Day inspired. This is the Smoky Obsessions. I think I'm going to try this one today. It's got a black, it's got like a really good transition, and it does have a nice mixture of mattes and shimmers. I also received this Frankie Rose Cosmetics palette in the mail. I think I might add some of these to the look as well. I've never really seen this combination of mattes before, but that's kind of why I like it, because you see the same thing a lot in the makeup industry. So let's try these out on the eyes. My favorite trick to a sharp wing, or sharp outer corner in general, is just tape. I know other people like to pack on powder in the outer corner. Some people just like to clean it up with concealer after. Everyone has their own method. I just personally feel like tape is the cleanest. This is the hardest part, trying to get the tape to be equal to each other. I think that's as good as we're gonna get. I think I'm gonna start off with this Frankie Rose shade, this lightest one right here, and I'm just gonna kind of use that as a base. I typically do this. I feel like when you put a powder down right before you go in with other shadows, it helps everything to blend better. Next, I'm going to go in with a more of a pinched fluffy brush. It's easier to get in that outer corner, at least for me. You want to create dimension. I'd rather be able to blend it out later than like putting it all over and trying to reverse it. I'm going to go into the Smoky Obsessions palette. This orange shade right here. Huda Beauty has very controversial eyeshadows. Either people love them or they hate them. I got her Desert Dusk palette, was it? Second palette she came out with, and I did like it. Some of the shades work better than others though, so I'm curious about these and how the formula is. So I'm doing the outer V crease area, and I am just mainly concentrating a lot of the color in the outer corner and then diffusing it through the crease. I don't want to bring the shadow out past the tail of my brow. I'm not going all the way in. I typically stop a little bit before the inner corner. Like I said, I really like to keep like the depth on the outer corners of my eye. I'm just a fan of that. I like anything that gives me a cat eye. I'm just going to take the same one that I used to fluff that beige all over, run over any edges. I feel like this is why I'm always so hesitant to do tutorials, because I take forever. I'm a perfectionist, and there's Blending in between every step with me. I don't want any harsh lines anywhere. So now I'm going to go in with a Sigma brush, and this is the same as before, but it's a little bit smaller, so just for reference. I like to kind of taper my brushes down in size as I'm doing more intricate work. This is the Sigma E25. I've had this brush so long that the writing is actually worn off. I'm going to go into this shade right here, this kind of chocolatey brown, and I'm only going to put this on one side of the brush instead of going in with the side that you have the color on, because that's going to apply it all over the lash line. I'm going to turn the brush around and I'm going to apply the color to the outer part of the crease like this. Once I've achieved that, I will go in as I normally would. See how that just creates a really nice line. I'm just taking it out just a little bit. And then I'm going to go in with the lighter transition shade and just kind of barely go over that edge. I don't want to be messy with this because I don't want it to look muddy. I'm looking for a precise blended crease. I'm concentrating all of the pigment along this tape line, right? Almost like I'm applying liner, but you just want it to be darkest at this bottom edge where the tape meets your eye. And I'm not bringing it in very far because I want to leave that lid space open for my next product. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to try out one of these new liquid catsuit liquid eyeshadows from Wet n Wild. I had some of these that I got in PR back around Halloween. It was in the fall, and the shades were all very dark like this one. I don't often wear shades that dark, but I've been so obsessed with up here my Cover FX ones, my Stila ones. I love liquid eyeshadows. I just think they're so fun and they add that extra pop. I'm trying to decide, I'm not going to wear the dark one today. I have these three really beautiful shades right here. A gold, a rose gold copper, and then a taupe. Based upon what I have here, I think that the rose gold will look really good with this shade right here. Sometimes I go in straight from the eye, but what I've been doing recently is I will take the product on the back of my hand because that's plenty, and I'm going to go in with a flat shader. And I don't know how fast this is going to dry. Every liquid eyeshadow kind of has a different formula. And I'm just using this tiny little shader brush. I'm going to go a little bit above my crease because my creases are actually uneven. This eye is a little more hooded. I always like to make them appear more even. Pigment looks pretty good. So it's definitely buildable once I put on another coat, able to create a seamless blend between the darker shade in my outer corner, and it gives you just enough time to apply it without it drying down too quickly. Wet n Wild came through. The Stila ones are like $24, something just absolutely mind-blowing. You could probably get like 4 of these for that price. I'm gonna do a little bit more deepening of the crease. I have this little Time Los Angeles brush. This is the 206. So I'm going to take this shade right here and then maybe a little bit of this one, but I want to baby step it. I don't like going straight to the darkest shade. So far, I've had a lot of winners today. I'm just going to take this mainly along the lower outer edge. And then on a little bit less of a dense brush, I'm going to try this Finishing Ponytail brush. That's what the name is, Finishing Ponytail. And this is a Laura Mercier brush. I've been testing these out. They're extremely pricey for brushes, but they're also amazing. I've really been liking the quality. They're all synthetic. Now I'm gonna go into that darker brown, tapping off the excess. I'm just gonna kind of feather this on the outer corner. Got a little crazy with that crease. So I don't know what's going on. The shadow is not looking so hot over here all of a sudden. This side looks fine, but I didn't really do anything differently on one eye or the other. So these darker browns in the Huda Beauty palette are kind of giving me a problem blending. I'm going to try this Time Los Angeles brush again because it's a denser brush. So hopefully I can pack on the color, and when I go to blend it, it doesn't all just wipe away. Because I unfortunately know that was a lot of people's complaints with the other Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette, and I never noticed it with that palette, but I am noticing it right now. I'm trying to add some intensity and I'm not able to get it where I want it to be. It's actually making this crease look patchy. Dang, everything was going so good. I'm just going to take this brush that I have a little bit of the Frankie Rose and the Huda Beauty transitions on, and I'm going to take this a little bit above that cut crease. just so that it's not too bare above the shimmer. That looks a hot mess. That's like really disappointing. Do you guys see how patchy that blend is and all this fallout? I didn't do anything differently between the two eyes to get that result, so I don't know. I'm kind of unsure about this Huda Beauty palette. Lighter transition was fine, but the darker browns are not blending right. So whenever a palette starts giving me major problems like this and it's just not blending evenly, I go to something that I really trust. For me, that has always been this Jaclyn Hill palette. I've never ever had an issue blending with this. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. It's this chocolatey brown, and I'm just gonna try to fix this. I'm gonna actually use this Laura Mercier. World of a difference. Do you guys see that? That is how a shadow should pack on. That is also how a shadow should blend out. So I did bring the darker brown up a little bit higher just so that it could barely go over that shimmer shade, just to create more of that half cut crease. I'm in that Huda Beauty palette again, just kind of going over the edges with that transition shade, which isn't giving me any problems. So now I'm going into this shade right here from the Huda Beauty palette. I'm going to wet my brush with this Morphe Prep and Set as I normally do. I like to pack it on the brush first and then spray it. That kind of is a little more silvery compared to the Wet n Wild liquid shadow. So I'm going to just do that on the inner corner. I just touched up the outer corners a little bit, got it as even as I could considering the Huda Beauty shadow kind of throwing me a curveball. I do just want to mention how much I like the shadows in this Frankie Rose. This brown and then this beige over here were a lifesaver. They actually just helped me blend out the mess along with the Jaclyn Hill palette. Now that I've finished the shadow, I'm just going to go in and use this new LA Splash liquid liner. It has the coolest little gem at the tip. It's not evenly dispersing the liquid. It is dispensing a lot of product though, and that is pretty darn black if you ask me. It is already starting to accumulate a little bit of eyeshadow. I don't know if this is going to be wet enough to do the other eye. This is typically the problem with liners. Oh no. Alright, let's try this again. That is giving me a little bit of a hard time. I'm going to focus on getting these bad boys even and I'll be right back. That LA Splash liner is not my favorite. They have another one that has a brush tip instead of a felt tip, and it is much better. It dispenses the product better. It doesn't drag or slip or dry out while you're trying to use it. This gave me a lot of trouble on the second eye. Once it had a little bit of eyeshadow on it, the product started getting not right, like it wasn't coming out. So unfortunately, even though the packaging to this is gorgeous, it's a pass for me. I did end up fixing it with one of my favorite liners. This is the Black Magic Liquid Liner Plus Wide Lash by Eyeshadow, and this has a brush tip. This tip is amazing. This is super, super black, and it does have a little bit more of a shine to it, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make because this is able to precisely flick out the wing like that other one can't because it's not a brush tip. So this also is known to grow your lashes. That's why I love using this one on a daily basis. I'm going to try out this Grande primer. This is a pre-mascara primer and it promises a lot. Instant dramatic lashes, boosted lash volume by 97%, intensified mascara look, infused with mini fibers that don't fall into your eyes. Safe with contacts, water resistant, and easy to remove. I don't even know why I'm using this because I'm going to put on lashes anyways. I love Grande Cosmetics serums and their mascara. It's my favorite. That's what I'll be using after I try this. So it's fortified with lash plumping peptides. I use their serum every night. It's like a once a day type thing, and my lashes have never been longer. So I'm definitely a fan of their brand. I just don't know about primers. I'm kind of horrified to do this before putting on lashes because if I don't coat every little bit, you're going to see white. This is their mascara. It is a lash boosting formula. I do notice a difference when I use this. It is a little bit of a drier formula. I'm just hoping that it's still gonna cover. I definitely can see a difference though. Much fuller at the base. I can definitely still see in the monitor that there's a few pieces that are white. So it definitely made my lashes more voluminous, but I feel like it, how do I say this? It made the mascara apply thicker where the primer was, and then it didn't reach the end of my lashes like this mascara normally does. It's not getting to the end of my lashes like it typically is, and then when I have to brush down, it's just creating clumps. Yeah, I don't know if it's the fact that this mascara is a little drier than normal. I think that this would only work with a wet formula. Maybe by itself. I'll have to get back to you guys. Now I'm gonna peel off the tape. You wanna do this very carefully. Those are ready to cut somebody. So quickly, I'm just going to use this Morphe Beauty liner to tight lines. Now I'm going to go in and do my brows. I don't really have any new products for brows right now, so I'm just going to go in and back. I washed my hands because we're about to go in with primer. This is the Naicari. I still don't know how to pronounce it, but it's called the 8th primer. I've tried it once. This is what it looks like. It's just like pinky. And it does give your face a little bit of a tacky feeling, but it smells nice, not overpowering, and it really feels moisturizing. I wouldn't use it on its own for pore filling, but for longevity of makeup and for making it lay better on the skin, I like it. I have two different foundation colors to choose from. These are the Frankie Rose Matte Perfection foundations. And I'm trying to decide what color I'm going to be. I'm extremely fair, but I never actually paint myself to be this fair. If I'm not self-tanned, I will kind of put it down my neck and call it a day. This is neutral and this is vintage. They look close enough in color to me that I'm just going to mix them together. Now that this Muse Beauty brush has had a second to charge, I'm just going to go ahead and sanitize the brush head. So my plan is to try this brush for blending it in and then probably end up going over it with a beauty blender just because I can't live without my beauty blender. I don't think anything truly applies foundation as effortlessly as a beauty blender. Just one little button right here, and it does have 2 settings, so this is the lowest one. I'm going to start and try to blend it out with this. You can kind of hear it having a hard time. Although it is making it look really nice, I'm going to pump it up one more time. So this is the faster setting. This feels so bizarre. Oh, it's getting my hair in my foundation and it just shed on my face. I wish you could change the direction it spins because it keeps just like shoving my hair into my foundation over here by my ears. I am not that in love with this. I like the idea of it. I think that in order for this to work correctly, they need it to spin both ways because it's hard to explain, but you kind of need it to like work with you and not against you. If you press too hard, it will start to move the foundation. If you have dry skin, this will cling to any dry patches, and I like that it buffs it in pretty quickly, but it's not giving me a full coverage finish by any means, and it is kind of pushing it around. On the plus side, it is getting into the crevices of my nose very nicely. It's getting a lot of surface area. It blends it out overall pretty nice. Like, it's not awful. I'm gonna have to go back in with my beauty blender for another layer because you can still see, I don't know, these lights are washing it out, but I can still see my freckles. Also, definitely worth noting, I'm sure you can see that the foundation is lighter when first applied. This foundation by Frankie Rose does oxidize. Their foundation is buildable. I like it much more when applied with a sponge. When applied with a sponge, it didn't accentuate any dry patches that my skin is experiencing right now. It definitely isn't enlarging any pores, and it's not settling into any fine lines. I'm gonna go in under my eyes with this concealer by Kylie Cosmetics, and then right before that, I'm going to go in with this Eve Pearl corrector. So for the corrector, I'm going to use this Morphe R32 brush. Just going to apply this right underneath the eye in the inner corner. Then I'm just going to blend that out. This is a very new product to me, but I've used this once before and it blended out beautifully. And now I'm going to go in with the Kylie Cosmetics again in gypsum. I like to bring my concealer on the sides of my nose for a reverse contour. it kind of slims it out. This is kind of how I always conceal center of the face and then my laugh lines. I'm going to take the pointy side of the Beauty Blender and kind of start at the outer edge, and then I work my way in because I want most of the coverage to be on the inner corner of my eye. Now I'll go in directly and I try to get as close up into that inner corner as I can. Last thing that I do is I just blend out this reverse contour on the nose. I've tried this under eyes, but I haven't tried it for contouring. This has been out for a while, but it's the Morphe concealer, and this is in the shade Toffee Nut, and I feel like this will actually be a pretty good contouring shade. These kind of weirded me out because I don't know if you guys can see that, but they're very thick and they smell and almost look like a lip gloss on the skin. I take this down the center of my nose. So once I get these lines how I want them, I'm going to go in with the Kylie concealer again, and I'm going to go right next to that. This technique I kind of observed from Carly Bybel. I've seen her do this on her channel many times, and it looks crazy, but it works really well when you're using the right kinds of products. So I'm not so sure if it's gonna work. I've used this with the Kylie concealers, but the Kylie darker shade that I got is very warm toned, so I wanted to try out this Morphe one because it's more cool. Start at the bottom here. Bring that light and you push it into the dark to blend it. That blended pretty well. Next, I'm gonna take it on the sides and I'm gonna drag it in to the dark. I'm going to set my concealer, so I'm just going to tap out any creasing that's happened. I'm immediately setting using the Cover FX Perfect Powder. And I only do right underneath the eye, and then I immediately wipe it away. Alright, so my camera died on me, but I'm going to explain to you guys what I did. Put some lashes on. These lashes are new to me. They're by Lotus Lashes and they're faux mink in the style FX1. They're like super fluffy and three-dimensional. This is the powder that I'm trying out today, and I've heard so many people talk about it, so I'm very excited about it. It's Wet n Wild Photo Focus. I am in the shade Warm Beige. I am applying this with this Laura Mercier finishing brush, and I'm just gently buffing this, and this really seems to not oxidize. The only other thing I did was I applied some mascara to blend my falsies and my lashes. This is the Mad Lash by The Balm, and it's got this little thing at the end of the wand so you can really get in there. I applied a new liner to the waterline. This is NARS Rue Bonaparte Longwear Liner. I'm gonna go in with these darker shades and hopefully they'll work out on the lower lash line. I'm just going to use this Luxie brush. I'm going to go in with the darker of the two browns. And now that I have the dark brown on the outer, I would say half of my eye, I'm going to go in with this mid-tone right here. I'm packing this on a Morphe M507 and blend out this color on the lower lash line. So now I want to try these Cover FX glitter drops, and I'm not going to put these on the face just because I feel like these are just a little bit too glittery for the face. I'm going to put it on the inner corner tear duct area with this same flat shader. I'm going to take this brush from Vanity Planet instead because it seems like that shader is actually removing some of my concealer in the inner corner. Much better. I'm going to go ahead and say that it really depends what brush you use. I'm going to go in with this Pro Contour Palette by Frankie Rose. It's got this mirror here, and then we've got these shades, this one being shimmer, the rest are matte. I'm not a fan of banana yellow highlights, but I do like this color right here, and I'm going to try to use that to brighten the under eyes. I'm going to use the same brush, the Real Techniques one from earlier. Wow, that is really brightening. I'm going to also put this in between my brows, and then I have darkness on the underside of my mouth. I'm going to take this Time Los Angeles 103 brush, and I'm going to go in with the lightest shade over here. Maybe I'll mix in a little bit. Yeah, I'll mix these two lighter shades. Contour the cheeks a little bit, but I don't want to bring it all the way down. I have a pretty angular face, so I don't like to bring it too far in. Very buildable, doesn't look powdery, very neutral. It's not ashy and it's not too warm. I just got these new Jouer duos. They call them blushing bouquets. This one is more of a cool tone pink. This one is Coquette Blush Duo. This one has 2 matte colors. Adore Blush Duo. Very, very neutral. One of these, this guy right here, is a shimmer and the other is matte. And this last one is Flirt. And this one's really pretty as well. I think I'm just going to do a mixture of the 2 of these. I'm going to do the darker one with this Laura Mercier. It's called a bronzer brush, but I'm going to use it for blush. Hopefully this isn't ridiculously pigmented. On the outer edge of the cheek. Oh, these are pigmented. Whew. Very pretty color though. And I like how this brush applies it. It's like very even coverage. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of the lighter shade, kind of more so on the apples. I approve. The shimmer is nothing crazy. It's like this natural lit from within glow. I'm going to take this stippling brush and just go over that, soften any edges. To stick with the Jouer theme, I'm going to use Citrine. This is one of my all-time favorite highlights. I'm going in with the same M507 from Morphe, and I'm just going to highlight the tip of my nose. While I'm at it, I'm just going to blend. Okay, so I had 2 options in mind for a lip today, but I think what I'm going to do is go with the red. So I'm going to use this Architect lip liner by Ellie Splash, which doesn't seem to have a name on it, but it's a red one. And then I'm going to go in with the new Jouer lip topper in Sweetheart, and this, just look at it. I'm going to go ahead and line the lips. Okay, so now that I have the lip liner on, I'm going to go in with this Sweetheart lip topper by Jouer. They smell amazing. I'm back with my hair in and my earrings on, feeling all cute or whatever. Make sure you're following me on Snap, because anything that I don't have a full opinion on, I always come back to you guys and give you more info on how it's wearing and how things are looking, what I'm loving, or if my opinions change. I'll leave it across the screen, but definitely keep in touch with me on there. Anyways, I hope you guys really enjoyed today's look. This was quite the video to film. This is my first makeup tutorial. Leave me look suggestions down below. Let me know what other things you guys would like to see from me. I hope you enjoyed today's look, and go ahead and check the description box. I'm going to be doing another giveaway in this video for you guys, because I'm so grateful for all your support in my YouTube journey. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.